Welcome to another episode of Tom's Tube Chan. Today I want to show you my MT-01 and how far I've got with it since I dropped it and what things I would like to do to it in the future. Also a little review of the bike and what to expect. If you're already a subscriber of the channel, you saw that I unfortunately dropped my bike back in December, causing a big dent on the left hand side of the tank. Now what I decided to do was actually get these carbon covers instead of getting the tank fully repaired. What I did do was rub the dent down and spray it with some etch primer. Now that seems to have done the job, covering up with the carbon covers which I managed to get from a company called Carbon Styling based in Germany. These carbon covers are very high quality. They're all handmade to order and you can get them online. You do need to speak to the chap on email just to get your order confirmed, but once you've got them here you'll be substantially impressed by them. They are really good quality, and what that's enabled me to do is, rather than getting the tank repaired, which I was a little bit dubious about, is actually cover up the dent on this side and still keep the tank looking really good. Now obviously some people will want to get the tank repaired. At the time I just did not have the funds to do so. These carbon covers are really good. All you need to do is get some black silicone sealant, stick a few blobs in lines down the insides and stick them to your tank. Hold them there for a bit and away you go. You obviously need to take off this cover as well before you put them on, but the end result is really good. They really do finish the bike off well. Also, unfortunately scratched these side covers that cover up the intakes, and what I decided to do was, rather than buy some new carbon parts because they're quite expensive, is actually take them down to my local car wrappers and get them wrapped in carbon effect. And I think the overall result is actually really good. So hoping that the carbon wrap holds up and stays on there for a long time. The other issue I had was the clutch reservoir got pretty badly damaged in the accident, and again the clutch reservoirs are really expensive to buy as a complete kit, and unfortunately the damage that was done to it would mean I'd have to buy the whole lot. So what I did was I was able to source these, I would say, cheap Chinese reservoirs from a guy on the Yamaha MT-01 UK forum, not forum, Facebook page. You can also check out the forum as well, all links below. Basically they come with these stainless steel brackets or aluminium, I don't actually know what they are. The finish is okay, I'm quite happy with it, it'll do for now. The damage to the left hand side of the bike was reasonably substantial. There's a scratch at the bottom of the left engine cover which is a pain, and also on the oil tank, and I also snapped the left gear, the gear pedal. Now the problem with the gear pedal is they're £125 to buy, and you can only buy them from a company in Germany. I'm still waiting on it. I still have a broken gear pedal, and at the moment that's the only thing stopping me getting the bike back on the road. So as soon as I got that gear pedal, I have actually just ordered an R1 2005 gear pedal just to see if that works. We'll see. Even if I just use that until I get the one through. I ordered it in January, it's now middle of February and I still haven't received it. Oddly enough, from the same company, I ordered the gasket for the fuel pump and that came within a few weeks. They're saying it's to do with Brexit and issues at customs. We'll see. So as far as fixing the bike up, she's ready to go. Apart from that gear lever on the left hand side, gear pedal, whatever you call it, I am just really happy. The bike looks really good. She's held up really well. The repair to the tank on the left hand side, considering I'm a massive amateur when it comes to things like that, isn't too bad. And if I decide to get the tank repaired in the future, then all I've got to do is take these carbon covers off and send it off to a proper bodyworks. However, at the moment it's holding up really well. There's no leaks, there's no issues. That's good. Why did I decide to buy a Yamaha MT-01? My previous bike, if you look at my old videos, is the Suzuki GSX 1400, and I had that on a 2002 plate. I had that for 11 years and I loved that bike. It was perfect. It did everything perfectly. It was great. The only issue I had was the fact that my knees are getting a bit rubbish. I'm 6'6" and after an hour in the saddle, or even before that, I was suffering. So I needed something different. Now the thing is, normally people of my height would go for an adventure bike or something like that, but I wanted something different. I saw this MT-01 online at a dealership. It was a little bit raggy around the edges, but it had the Akrapovic exhausts. It had, well, actually that was about what I had going for it. You can even see that somebody has made some really bad aluminium covers. Normally with the Akrapovic exhaust you have a kit that comes up here, which stops you burning your legs basically. Now although these are a little bit rubbish, they actually sort of look pretty good on the bike. I'm still on the hunt and for these covers, and if you look at Carbon Styling, they actually make a set of carbon covers for these exhausts as well, so maybe in the future I'll go for them. So back to the bike. Now why did I decide to go for it? It's just such a different looking bike to anything that you'll see on the road these days. Everywhere I take it, everybody stops to look at it. Everywhere I go, you could have the best looking bikes in the world, most expensive, most exotic bikes. Everyone will look at this. Whether they love it, whether they hate it, they will come and they will ask you questions and they want to look at it and they want to know about it. It's a 1700 V twin. It's air cooled. It's not going to blow, it isn't going to blow any other bike out of the way really. It's about 90 brake horsepower on a good day. It has 110 pound per foot of torque, but the way that the engine delivers its power and torque is fantastic. This bike will easily pull your arms off up to about 100 miles an hour. After that, yeah, you're not going to break any records. It starts to run out of steam. It has 5 gears, up to 100 miles an hour. It's done. Now, most of you, what's the point? What's the point? Right, this is a naked bike. I'm a big unit. If I'm sitting on this bike and the wind is hitting me in the face, it's uncomfortable up to about 80 miles an hour. I'm not a sports bike rider, I never will be. I like the seating position, the riding position, where your hands are on the bars. It all fits me so well. The other good thing about this bike is it actually handles incredibly well. For its size and its weight, you can throw it in corners surprisingly well. Once you've got the suspension settings set up right for you. Now I weigh about 18 stone, so I've got the suspension set up where I like it, and it works really well. And I'm hoping when I get a new set of tyres on it, I handle even better. So the Yamaha MT-01 was originally thought about in sort of the late 90s with a concept bike that was shown at lots of the bike shows that Yamaha produced. Now it had so much interest that they decided to go ahead and make the bike. Now obviously, the concept bike and the actual production bike were very different things. My bike is a 2005, so this is the first model that came out. This particular model has done this particular bike has done 44,000 miles now. Now, although it's done 44,000 miles, it doesn't look like a 44,000 mile bike in my eyes. It's actually really good condition. A few, like I said, a bit rough around the edges, but those things have been sorted now. The best part about this bike is the look for me. You've got this huge 1700 V-twin engine. You've got R1 2005 derived forks and suspension at the rear. You've got the swinging arm for a 2005 bike. Fantastic. And it works really well. Now, did it work in 2005 when everybody was raving about sports bikes? I'm not 100% sure. Now, this bike works. You've got clogged up roads, can't really go that fast. It's all about cruising, showing off. That's what it's all about. The noise this bike makes is incredible. So, you know, if you're in the market for one of these, now is the time to buy. If you were to buy a similar spec bike to this, you're looking to pay about £6,000, which is quite a lot of money really, but they're just becoming so rare, and you know, parts are becoming a bit of an issue as well, but you know, they can still find a few bits and pieces here and there. I use this as an everyday commuter. Now, one of the questions that people always ask me about the MT-01, or what I see online mostly, is questions about the exhaust on these bikes. Now, when you buy the bike, if you buy it in a standard trim, you get these header pipes and you get a set of great big whopping standard pipes that have the carbon, or not carbon, just plastic surround with a big fan at the back to disperse the heat. Now my bike has the standard pipes or headers at the front, and then it goes up into some link pipes. You've got the Yamaha X-up valve in between the two, and then you've got these Akrapovic titanium exhausts. Now, all that gives the bike is a fantastic noise. They're pretty good in standard trim as well, and what this is classed as is a stage 1. So the ECU is exactly the same as it would have come out of the factory with some normal exhausts on it, but all you've got is these great big whopping Akrapovics. The Akrapovics are really sought after and actually quite expensive to buy these days. The next one is stage 2. Now stage 2 is a new ECU. It takes, you get an Akrapovic set of exhausts which tend to hug the engine rather than come out like this. They look incredible, and also you don't have an X-up valve in it anymore. Now what that means is you get a bit more freer flowing, a bit more noise, and generally just a better look. I wouldn't say that the power difference is much. It might feel different, but overall the power is the same. So, you know, to gain a few brake horsepower from a £2,000 kit of pipes and stuff like that isn't a great gain. There are other aftermarket exhausts, and the ones that I've found so far are in the links below. But basically I'm really happy with how this looks on the bike. The next stage is stage 3, and that means like engine work and stuff like that, and I'm not going to go into that because I am not an expert on how that works, but basically it means slightly bigger, I think, Westco pistons, lighter con rods, things like that. The engine has already been pretty tuned anyway to the level that it can be in the factory without sacrificing anything else, but there are a lot of people online that tend to go and port the engine, make it breathe a bit easier, and get quite a few more horses out of it. Whether or not that's actually worth it, I don't know. But overall, the stage 1 kit, I think, really suits the bike well. What you tend to get is there's like a set of baffles. Now on my bike, if I can find them, it came with these baffles, which are slightly longer ones. They also come with a stubbier set, which apparently still give you like the big noise but take away the edge. I run without, but I like noise. And if you look at my other videos, previous video, there's one actually showing a flyby of the bike when I first got it. Really gives you a feeling about how these bikes sound. Now, the only other issues that you've got to watch out for on these bikes as well is the suspension linkage underneath is okay, but obviously it's open to the elements quite a lot. And apparently, as the engine gets hotter, it affects the handling. Now, I haven't seen that issue, maybe because my bike was slightly better maintained, I don't know. But it's something to watch out for, and if you're buying a bike, keep an eye on that. The other thing is they tend to eat chains. So if you're buying a bike, make sure you keep an eye on that chain. Check around, just check to make sure, look at the chain, see if it's wet, see if it's been looked after. Make sure that the previous owner has got all the receipts for those changes, those jobs and stuff like that. This bike also has the Barnett clutch, okay? Now, the clutch that came with the bike apparently wasn't man enough, and it actually tends to slip quite a lot. But apparently if you use certain types of oils, that can actually make the slipping effect more prominent. Now this bike has the Barnett clutch, and that was when I actually bought the bike, it had the Barnett clutch, and it was one of the reasons why I wanted the bike so badly. I don't notice any clutch slip problems at this stage, so fingers crossed it's all good on that aspect. Again, the bikes are really solid, the engines are so under stress that there's nothing to worry about generally there. As long as they've had oil changes on a pretty regular basis, you know, normal service intervals, the bikes are going to be solid. Keep an eye on the brakes. You've got the R1 front brakes, which are radial. These are just the 4-pot type brakes. On the later bikes, I think 2008, they came with the 6-pot calipers. Other than that, no real huge difference, apart from on the 2008 as well, you had the reservoirs built into the actual levers themselves. So, overall, the bike is coming along really well, and I am so happy with how it's come out so far. There are a few questions after I fell off the bike what I was going to do, because I was slightly concerned about parts and things like that. I think as you come to as time goes on, you then realise that things aren't actually that bad, and just basically covering up the dent is enough to do. Now, as soon as this bike's back on the road, I would be doing some more stuff with it. So let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is just obviously a roundup of where the bike was at. Just wanted to show off these carbon covers, where I've got to with the bike, and also just give you a bit more knowledge about what the MT-01 is all about. If you want some more information, please check out my website, check out my Facebook page, check out the MT-01 Facebook group for the UK owners. All the links are below, so please check them out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.